Welcome! Since I think I have my Porsche group build somewhat under control, why not join a few more group builds? My first thought was to jump into Blue Ox Model Shop's Street Machine group build. Then I saw Woody's Rock and Roll on Wheels group build, which got me thinking.
So what am I going to choose for this group build? Or is it groups build? Or is it group builds? I think I'm going to go with groups build because it's only one model, right? I don't know. Everybody's favorite, the 1967 Pontiac GTO by AMT. Yep. So I've had this one in my stash for quite some time. It is in the wonderful checkerboard box art flavor from 2003. Man, that's kind of like hits home because this model is more than 20 years old, and I don't know if this one has, you know, the nose problems that people have been talking about. We'll get there and figure that out. So let's open this up and see what's inside here. First up, we got some chrome. What is that? Wait a minute, I don't even think that belongs in here. Get out of here. We have the chrome. Look at those wonderful stock wheels and some blob headers and a blob blower. And yeah, there's the rear bumper. It's still chrome after all these years. That's okay. Have the interior bucket. It's kind of neat that a chromium piece goes in there with the dashboard. It's okay. Next in here, we got the these tires. Those are not very accurate on one side. I don't know really what's going on there, and whatever that thing is. Here's the body. I have done some kind of sketching at some point in this kit's history. Even a little sanding, maybe. I don't know. There it is. It's unpainted. Approved. Oh, speaking of sketching, I guess that's what I was sketching for. For those that know, you know. Instructions. We don't need to go into all of that because everybody's kind of built this already, and it doesn't really help. You got the hood. It looks all right. Wait a minute. I thought that thing was a separate piece. I guess not. Got more parts here. Bucket seats. An engine. Yeah. More parts that don't really go with this car. Why? Yeah, and then this thing. Yeah, we probably won't use that. And so, I don't know. How's these things? That. Got some glass. Ooh, an aluminum wheel. That's a front pocket find. And then there's that grill thing. Yeah, that's gonna need to be worked on, but it's still chrome. That's good. A bunch of stuff in here. So, what are we gonna do with all this stuff? Besides put it all back in the box, because we're not gonna probably be using a lot of this stuff. Because, you know, what I'm going to do is a very popular Kitbash. I got one of these 67 Chevelle Pro Streets from the Hobby Lobbies, probably with a 40% off day. And yeah, since in the real world, this and that are basically the same thing underneath, it should just drop in, right? So, oh, look at that. That is doesn't go with this, obviously. You have instructions and parts, that go with that.
So combining this kit with this one actually puts me in 2 more group builds. So let's take a look at those. I can obviously join NYS Modeling's Pro Street group build, and I think there's even another one wrapping up for the GTO in one of Lucas' groups. I don't think I'll finish by that deadline, but I wouldn't be the first. So let's get out the knife and get this one started. Okay, I have to admit, I started this one a few days ago. The local club meets at the hobby shop for some group build time, and I thought that was a great way to start this multi-group build with a group. The first step was putting the Pro Street chassis into the body and checking the stance. It then became obvious that the toy-like radiator support has to go. The Ninja Saw made quick work of removing it, and that is the first part to the burn pile. The parts of the firewall that are tight in the fender are a bit more tricky. Those were scribed out with an X-Acto and then snapped out. Back at the bench, I needed to start establishing hard points for where the chassis would locate the body. I decided the giant rear seat package tray would be a good start. The molded in bow tie had to go though. This ain't no Chevy. The firewall was next. After test fitting and seeing many others do this conversion, I feel this is a must-do modification. The top part of it needs to be cut down to allow the chassis to fit the body better. This will allow the chassis to bottom out on the fender wells instead of the firewall, and it will sit lower. A strip of styrene will be glued to fill the gap later. A Pro Street car should sit low and mean. The front wheels were mocked up and the spindles snap into the wheel backs, which is totally approved. Notice how they can be clocked in a high or low position. I pre-assembled the front suspension. There is something very subtle going on here. I extended the openings in the wheel well where the upper A-arms mount, which allowed them to mount almost an 1/8 inch higher. This will significantly lower the front while keeping the rest of the suspension in a prototypical location. The little bit of flex in the suspension should allow the spindles to snap into place when it comes to final assembly. Moving to the rear, I assembled the 2-piece rear axle and again snapped on the wheel backs. The chassis has these upper control arms molded in, and these are in the way to make it sit low. I simply snip them out and will clean this up later. You really don't see them once the rear axle is in place. A quick mock-up shows this is starting to have a nice Pro Street stance. I even have a little wiggle room to make it sit lower, but I need to leave some space for an exhaust system. But that'll be for another installment. I'm just getting started on this one, so if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, you know what to do, because I have all kinds of model car stories to tell. Thanks for watching.